there's one other part about this whole what's going on, and it might not be the most important part. I acknowledge that, but it is a part. And Maine the 17 has just reminded me of the idea of blame Joe Biden. What's happening in these universities, and I'm not saying blame Joe Biden necessarily, but what's happening in these universities is there are a bunch of millennial and Gen Z voters who are going to be needed by Joe Biden at the end of this year to keep out Donald Trump, who could very, 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 very easily be coming more sour towards him. And things like this might flow on into into these people not voting for Joe Biden. Now, I'm never the kind of person that goes, you must vote for this person to keep that person out. No one's entitled to your vote. Politicians have to earn your vote without question. So I wouldn't take that line of, you're to blame if Trump gets in because you didn't vote for Biden. No, Biden needs to earn your vote. And if he doesn't earn it, that's on him. But what's going on at the moment, the progressive left in America and the younger generations who support them are moving away from Biden. And that could be an issue for the rest of America for the next 4 years at the end of this year.
Yeah, so there's the immediate fallout there. Imagine if he, first of all, you have to make the assumption that they were going to vote at all.
Yeah.
And I would hope that they're this politically active that they would have.
Yeah.
I would say in their shoes, you can dislike Biden all you like. You have to hold your nose and fucking vote for him because the other guy is worse. And then the second part of what you need to do is the longer term thing of look at the structure of the Democratic Party, look at the structure of the fact that it's a two-party system. Look at what the Republicans are doing by putting up the worst example that they could have. There is no one better that they want to put up. And they need to shake the foundations of that system.
But they never do that.
They never do that. They become disengaged and they're like, the system doesn't give a shit about me. I can't move the needle. I'm out. I don't want to vote for this guy when I know he's shipping weapons to Israel at one hand and going, we don't like the situation over there. On the other hand, it's what the US is doing writ large. Like at the moment, they're sending an enormous amount of military aid to Israel, while the US Navy is building a floating pier to get aid into the Gaza Strip. And it's like, well, you've got to bob each way. Pick a side.
The thing is, they never do that, and because they never do that, in other words, they never. I mean, the system needs to be burnt to the ground, right? The American system. And unless they let it get burnt to the ground, it's never going to be fixed. And the argument of they have to hold their nose and vote for Biden because Trump is worse means they then won't fix it. I've probably used this example before. When I worked in a radio station, ZB it was, we had newsreaders. And the newsreaders used to record the news to a digital reel-to-reel, DRR. So the old style had those reels spun around and you record them. This is all digitally. And I can remember the main newsreader in the News Talk ZB studios. So he'd record all the news that had go out on the other radio stations and then he'd do it live on ZB. And sometimes the digital reel-to-reel, the DRR, would fail. And he could fix it. Like he could go in and go, shit, it's failed. I'll go in and I'll re-record it and I'll upload it manually. But he chose not to because he knows that if he continued to fix the error, the company would never pay to get it fixed. So he let news bulletins go out that he knew were corrupt because he wanted to force the hand of the management to fix it. And I think the longer and it's not really we have a different system, but the longer Americans hold their nose and vote for the person they don't want, the longer it's going to take for the system to change. Now, I know what that means. You could have a fascist in 10 months' time. Not saying it's easy. And I know what's happening is I'll go, well, just do it this time to keep Trump out. DeSantis will be up next time. And he's like Trump, only he got a bit of a higher IQ. It's like at some stage, it's got to burn to the ground. Easy to say, hard to do. And if they keep holding their nose and voting, they're going to keep getting what they've got right now. And maybe it's an impossible choice, but those are the choices.